right, welcome back to the Hardcount Heroes Fantasy Show. I'm your host, Jarrett, and I'm joined by Dalton and by Bryce, who is on the road right now, phoning in live.
Yes, sir.
So we are a little light staffed today. We got 3 people, but we're going to run with it, and the show must go on. So we're looking forward to it. Last episode, we talked a lot about the looming trade deadline upon us, and we discussed some of the trades that went down. But may I tell you that those moves were just the beginning of it all, and we had some crazy shit happen. But before we plan to get into those trades,
There's
first
a
I'd
lot.
like, yeah, there was a lot. First, I'd like to take a quick moment to address some big events we have happening here at Hardcount Heroes. The first thing is we're doing a Madden 23 giveaway on our TikTok right now. It's going to close December 1st, so if you haven't entered, I would go do that right now. If you don't have Madden 23, our TikTok is at Hardcount Heroes altogether. No underscore or anything like that. It's on the show graphic as well. So all you got to do is go to the page, follow the page, like the post, and then comment your favorite NFL team and the console you have. And then we'll announce the winner December 1st, like I said before. And we're also going to have a new show unveiling probably in the future called Hardcount Headaches. I was going to have Nick explain it, but he's not necessarily here. So, Bryce, if you would like to take a crack at it.
Let's hope that I have enough signal to talk about it all. Basically, it is going to be a show where we rate certain subjects, such as like foods or different types of, like clothing, stuff like that along the lines of that. We're going to compare them to NFL players, and we're going to do a draft from our worst to our best, like of all time. And it's just, I had a really good, we did a test run of it last night. We had a really, really good test run, I feel like. So you guys will just have to wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that product to come out eventually. Nothing's set in stone right now, so I won't give exact release date or anything. It's still in the works, kind of, but definitely an interesting concept that we're looking to have a lot of fun with and kind of branch out. So keep your eyes out for that. And finally, this episode will go up the day after Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We hope you have a wonderful holiday, and make sure you eat a lot of turkey, watch some football, and have a good time with your family. So with that being said, let's get into the matchups right away. So first one we'll do is Watson's Massage Parlor. Bryce taking on Dyson. Bryce, you won this game 156.48 to 133.10. You go up to 3-8 on the year. Dyson loses another game, and he ends up dropping his 4th game in a row. So he's in a pretty tough losing streak. And what were your thoughts and kind of your approach to this game, Bryce?
Well, I'm not going to lie. The last minute thing to start Aaron Rodgers this week I was literally at the game, and 5 minutes before the game, I said, okay, I'm going to drop Jimmy G and put in A-Rod because I had a good feeling about that night. I was going to be like, of course, the night I don't start him, he's going to go off. And he had an pretty okay game, I'd say. But I was really shitting bricks up until, like, after all the Sunday games were done. Like, he was ahead by, like, 20 points or something. So, I mean, and all I had was Debo, Samuel, and George Kittle. And together they both put up 22 points, 24 points each. So
They
that's
showed
where I
up.
was kind of hoping that they would pull through, and they pulled through for me. So that's all I can ask for.
Yeah. Nice to see production out of Debo and George Kittle finally. It seems like the whole year they've kind of been off and on, not necessarily
Say
performing to the
Debo
standard
more
they
or
should be.
less. Kittle's been pretty solid, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd
But
say so.
Debo's been hit or miss this year.
And your kicker, Tyler Bass, had 23, so that was pretty nice.
That's my anchor for my terrible defense this week. Only 5 points. But I'll take T-Bass any day, baby.
Yeah. Looking at Dyson's side, he had Joe Burrow go off for 28 points versus the Steelers, and Nick Chubb was underwhelming for him, who had 9.7. And I will say a positive, though, for him is that Allen Robinson put up 14.7. And it looks like with Cooper Kupp being hurt, unfortunately, it does give Allen Robinson a bigger role, which was expected at the start of the year. And I would say a lot of people has labeled him as a bust, but maybe he can kind of recuperate some of that and show up at the end of the season. So we'll be looking forward to that. He also had Jonathan Taylor put up 16.4, which was nice for him. kind of nice after that trade. And then Dyson goes to 5-6, and he's on a 4-game losing streak. So, I mean, sound the alarm there. I would be a little concerned if I was Dyson right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd definitely be worried if I was him too. And it's not like the games that he did lose before this one were like complete blowouts either. They were close games, but they were just barely losses, you know.
He keeps
But
getting the shit
loss
end of
is
the
still a
stick
loss.
over and over again.
I mean, he started
So
off strong though. The start of the season,
Yeah.
he was
Well,
one of
he
the
was right
top
there with
two
Nick
undefeated teams, and then
for like the first 5 weeks. He was like right there with Nick, and then he kind of just fell. So, I mean, that's how fantasy football goes, though. You can ride a shitty streak. Like, just look at Greg this year. He started out like, what, 0-4, and then he went all
Yep.
the way up to second in the league, and now he's back to like fifth. So, it's kind of all over the board. So, let's pivot into our next matchup then. Double Gulp Cup. Nick took on Jordan's not Greg, like we were just mentioning. And Nick won this game 134.08 to 124. And I want to say that Nick pulled off the fucking technique that Dalton always does, where he goes, "Oh, I'm not going to win this week, guys. I'm screwed. Cooper Kupp's injured. I'm not going to win. This is the downfall of Double Gulp Cup." And he fucking won anyway. So I didn't pick him to win, and I don't think actually, Bryce, you might have picked him to win last week.
Did pick him to win because he picked me to win.
Yeah, that's what it was. He had Jamal Williams going for 3 touchdowns, and the Commanders' defense went off, so that kind of carried him. And everyone on his team did all right. Josh Allen was actually kind of underwhelming, and he only put up 12 points. That might be something to do with his UCL injury, but I can't say for certain. And then he did pick up Marquez Valdez-Scantling to play against the Chargers, and MVS is a bum. I don't know why he did that. He doesn't get enough targets, and he's also just not consistent. I mean, coming from a Packers fan, and Bryce would know too, is that MVS is kind of all over the place, and he was never really consistent with Aaron Rodgers. He would have a lot of deep passes that he would drop, and then he would make some fantastic catches, and it just never looked like he was a guy that was going to work out.
Yeah, no, definitely can confirm that, Jared. But he is a really young receiver yet. He's only been in the league, what, like maybe 4 or 5 years, if that.
Yeah, something like that.
And like I think the first couple he wasn't even like playing, you know. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
You got to give him slack, but not too much, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. They'll have
you
to
gotta
see
let
that
him
goes.
ferment a little bit.
We'll let
Get
him
used to the
ferment.
new surround.
Well, that's a busy wide receiver room too. You have Kadarius Toney that's in there now, and then they got a couple other guys like McCole Hardman actually, who might be injured. I'm not exactly 100% sure. But they have another young guy.
They had Juju.
Yeah, Juju got injured too. So I don't know. That's kind of like a revolving door there at the Chiefs wide receiver core. So I guess they'll have to figure that out. But it didn't really matter for Nick as he won. Greg's now on a 2-game losing streak. He did have Jalen Hurts go for 24 points. But otherwise, most of his team was pretty underwhelming. Brandon Ayuk did put up 16, which was nice for him. But if I was Greg, he should have sold high on Joe Mixon after that 55-point game, because Mixon hasn't been matching that production the whole year. I mean, he's been okay here and there, but his value is never going to get any higher than right there, and that would have been the perfect opportunity to flip him for something else.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a missed opportunity on his part, but it's a little too late now, though, to do anything about that with the trade deadline. So what do you do? Moving into the next matchup then. Judge Judy Cameron took on 50 Shades of Trey, Dalton. And Cameron won that game 179.52 to 134.52. Dalton, you fall to 4-7. Cameron goes up to 5-6. What are your thoughts on the game, Dalton?
Not many people on my team really wanted to come and perform, but that I can't control. But Amari Cooper came to play, so he tried to pick up some slack, put up 30-some points. It was never going to be enough, but I don't know. Thank God Justin Field decided to finish the game out of his injury, so now we'll see if he continues, because he played with a dislocated shoulder, they said.
Oh, really? Jesus Christ.
That's one tough passer
Yeah.
right there.
You get a at least you tried award.
You think?
I think they should have given 10
Yeah.
points just for finishing the game like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
While you're on main running
But
backs, I
then
see.
you got Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, they were
where
pretty underwhelming.
That game was a joke.
Alvin Cook, Saquon
Terrible.
Barkley, Damian Pierce were all kind of underwhelming.
Graham
And
got
Mm.
him.
But hey, my defense put up 17.
your defense did put up 17. That is pretty nice. And then your kicker put up 13, which is decent too. So not all negatives. So looking at Cameron's team then, Cameron's team dominated. Pat Mahomes, 27.46. Derrick Henry, 25.36. Josh Jacobs for 19. Devontae Adams for 33.10. Travis Kelce for 35.5. David Montgomery actually showed up and put up 21. So very good week for Cameron. He's riding the hot hand. He's on a 2-game winning streak. And he keeps putting up pretty consistent points. Like, I know we shitted on him earlier in the year for putting up all these points, but still losing all the time. But it looks like he's kind of getting his revenge. So I'm a little scared. Not going to lie.
Yeah, it's coming back to bite us all in the ass.
Yeah, I'd say so. And especially Nick, because he talked the most shit.
The only thing that's going to be biting him in the ass is that damn cow costume at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He might be a little far-fetched for that now, though. He's 4th in the league now, so.
But I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get to the last matchup then. Myself, Dak to the Future, took on Big Ben Sexton Cooper in the game of the week. And I lost this game 111.56 to 158. And I was the worst team this week. What do you do? Justin Jefferson sold against the Cowboys because they fucking lost 40-3. He only put up 6.3 for me. Garrett Wilson in my flex, he sold because he put up 3.2. And I was down a lot of people because I had about 4 or 5 people on bye week. So the positives I took out of this is that Chris Olave was good. Cordell Patterson was all right. And overall, it was an okay performance for some people. But a lot of my team just didn't go out there and play. Like my defense, the Broncos defense only put up 1 point. So not much I can really do there. But Tony Pollard destroyed me and put up 36.9. I didn't expect that coming from him, especially with Zeke back in there, but he really showed up, made a big difference. Then Justin Herbert had a bounce back game, and Christian Watson made us eat our words on him because he put up 21 again and balled out. We weren't sure about his consistency, but I'll give it to him. And then Cooper's defense and kicker kind of won him the game too. So I fall to 6-5. Cooper goes to 7-4. Both still in the playoff mix, but a little noteworthy loss for myself. But what do you do? So let's pivot into player of the week then. We had some pretty good players this week. Tony Pollard, Travis Kelce, and Devontae Adams all kind of ring a bell. Who do you think is your player of the week, guys?
That's a good question. I think I'm going to say Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
Just because he's been good. He's definitely coming around.
Yeah, I'd
But
say
now the
so.
question is, can he keep it? Can he keep this fire going?
That keep the ball rolling? We'll have to see. I mean, Dyson did just trade for him, so it's going to be kind of questionable.
Yeah, that was an interesting trade in himself.
What do you think, Bryce? If you're alive.
So
there he is.
the options again: Tony Pollard,
Tony
Kelce,
Pollard,
and
Travis Kelce, and Devontae Adams.
Well, I think you should mention one guy who's not even on here. All right. What about Sam G? I can't say his last name.
Oh, Samaj AP Ryan. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't
with
throw him
30
on
points
there.
out of nowhere, dog.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. I didn't throw him on there just because he wasn't on any of our rosters. So, but yeah, definitely an
Okay, yeah,
honorable mention
sorry, I
nod to
forgot
him.
word. Well then, if we're gonna go with people on the roster, probably Kelce then.
Yeah, he had 35. He was really good. 3 touchdowns
He's
for
had
him.
a lot of those games this year.
Well, yeah, I think he's just been the best tight end in fantasy football. No question about it.
Oh yeah.
He's definitely the
Mm-hmm.
guy to have. So, uh, that's the player of the week. Let's move right ahead to the main topic of discussion here. The trade deadline just hit on Monday night after the game was over, and we talked about some of the moves last week, but we had a lot more go on, and
Hmm.
definitely a lot of big moves. So let's talk Dyson's Tony Pollard trade first. So Dyson decided to acquire Tony Pollard, and he gave away Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, and Jonathan Taylor, which is seems like quite a bit for Tony Pollard. I don't know if Tony Pollard's going to keep that same workload. I just feel like that's a bit much. What about you guys?
He's definitely he's definitely taking a big risk with that trade. Because if Pollard can't keep up how he's performing, then was it really worth it in the end?
Yeah,
Especially being
exactly.
this late in the season.
hmm
I'd say Cooper robbed him without. That's
I
just
think
me
that
though.
was, yeah, almost playing highway robbery.
Straight up highway robbery.
Yeah,
I think Dyson they're like, here's the counter Cooper's here's the counterfeit $100,000. I'll take your real $100,000 and I'll get out of here.
exactly. So then, Dalton, you put on a flash
Mm-hmm.
sale, putting like almost every player on your trade block except for Tyreek Hill, and you sold quite a bit to set yourself up for next year. So just to run
Mm-hmm.
down over a couple of the moves, you traded Damian Pierce to Cooper, and you got back AJ Dillon in a 2023 11th round pick. I traded you Cordell Patterson in an 8th, and I got Saquon Barkley in a 12th. Made a couple draft pick trades with Nick. You traded Cameron, Dalvin Cook, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and an 8th round pick for DeAndre Hopkins, Josh Jacobs, and a 6th round pick. And then you flipped DeAndre Hopkins for Rondale Moore in 2 seconds. And then you gave it away at 11th to Nick. So definitely a lot of draft pick moves and moved away all your best players. So do you think that you're going to finish last now this year after selling?
You know, there's a very high chance that I will, but it'll be worth it because majority of my picks now for next season are within the first half of the draft.
Yeah, you are pretty set
So
in
I
that
should
regard.
potential to do good next year, but I still don't think my team this for the rest of this season is terrible because I have Josh Jacobs who should be able to do good. I kept Hill, Wilson, and now with some of the Broncos receivers getting hurt, hopefully Cortland Sutton can get some more action. But
Yeah, hopefully.
guess only one way to find out.
Who was getting traded from the Broncos? Wasn't it Cortland? Didn't Cortland Sutton say something on Twitter today or yesterday? Like he was like,
Oh, Melvin
"See you
Gordon just
later."
got cut.
Oh, Melvin Gordon, that's who it was.
Yeah, apparently Melvin. I don't know if this is true or not, but Melvin Gordon was playing Futures music in the locker room by Russ, and Russell Wilson is married to Future's ex, who has a kid with him. So he was doing some savage shit. I respect Melvin Gordon on that one, going out with a bang. But very interesting. The moves I made during this trade deadline. I did get Saquon Barkley from you, Dalton, like I was talking about, and then I made a trade with Bryce here, and I gave up
Mhm.
DeAndre Swift and a 5th round pick, and I got James Conner out of it, like I believe we talked about last show. We'll have to see how that it is now, since I did get Saquon, so I don't really know how I feel about that move, but that's kind of up in limbo. Uh, Another thing to mention too, you did say that you had the majority of your picks in the first round, and a big contributor to that, or not in the first round, the first half of the draft, and the big contributor to that is Nick, because now he doesn't have a pick until the 7th round of the fucking draft. So Nick's going with the all-in strategy, and all I'm gonna say is if he doesn't win the league this year, he's gonna look like an absolute clown.
Yep,
Mhm. And you know
he's gonna
what?
look
I
like a
have
clown.
no remorse, no regrets.
No.
No regrets.
So if he's ever bitching
Yep.
next year about how his team sucks, just tell him, well, you did this to
He
yourself.
he did do it to himself. I mean,
He
he's
went,
already given away futuristic picks for other years.
yeah, exactly. He made probably the stupidest trade I've ever seen in fantasy football that made no purpose. Uh, he traded away like his whole 2025 draft and Donovan Peoples-Jones to Dyson for Tyler Lockett in Dyson's whole 2025 draft. And then there was a couple of 2023 picks sprinkled in there in between. But that was just so unnecessary and stupid. It honestly pissed me off when I saw it. I was just like, why?
I
Why'd you do
kind of
that?
thought it
I
was pretty.
just like
Yeah, that was
I thought it was.
frustrating.
I didn't even really look at that trade when I seen it. I just seen all the numbers and like, yep, nope, not my problem.
Yeah. Nick even messaged me, or he put like in the Instagram chat, he was like, don't look at Discord, Jarrett, please, or don't look at Sleeper, Jarrett, please don't look at Sleeper. And I looked and I was just in shock. I was like, why? Just why? Why do we do this to ourselves?
Which is dumb in Nick's part because if he didn't want you to look, don't even mention it. I mean, come on.
I feel like that was one of those reverse psychology
And you would
things
have
where he
seen
really
it
did want
at
me to
some
look.
point.
Yeah, I would have saw it anyways. Like, when am I just not going to check my Sleeper app for the rest of the
Exactly.
year? That would have been stupid. But yeah,
Nope, you can only go off notifications and hope you win.
yeah. So he's stuck now with a shitty outlook for next year. And a couple other things just to highlight here. Uh, Greg made no moves, and I feel like he probably could have. Like I said before,
Mhm.
uh, he was in position to. He's right on the doorstep of getting a playoff spot, and then he just kind of left it up for air. Didn't get a solid wide receiver too. Didn't sell on Joe Mixon, so kind of a bad deadline for him. And then Bryce, personally, I don't know what you did with that Jonathan Taylor trade where you just trade him straight up for Singletary, but I want to know what the motive was behind that.
So my thought process, Jared, is Jonathan Taylor has been hurt half the year, and when he did play, he has only had like 2 22-point games. Okay, 2 or 3 20-point games. The other games that he did play were like 7 points, 8 points, 10 points. I felt that, don't get me wrong, John Taylor's a good guy, but he's been so injury prone to me this year that it was almost not worth it for me to keep him this late in the season. I'm already bottom of the league, so I figured, fuck it. Why not? You know, take a gamble when you're on the bottom. You can't really go anywhere else except up.
So I get trading away Jonathan Taylor, but why didn't you get any draft capital out of it? I mean, you're 3-8 right now, and I'm assuming you're probably not going to make playoffs. Is this a move just to avoid last place?
I didn't even really think about draft capital until I sent the trade and Dyson had accepted it. I realized I had fucked up on that part. I probably could have got at least a probably fifth round pick out of him because he hasn't been playing good. But you know, it is kind of just the battle to stay out of last place now. I mean, I got a couple of extra picks in the fifth and sixth round there, and I think I got an extra seventh round. So it's not like I got completely screwed over like Nick, you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
I don't know. Just when I saw that trade, it was
that's
kind of a
what
head
happened this
scratcher
year.
for me. And I
So
was like, I don't really get that move, but all right. Yeah. So it looks
don't
like
worry, I
you're
can
going
keep
more
him for
for the,
next year. So
yeah, more for the stay out of last place. And Dalton is committing to the tank this year. Put that on a shirt, committing to the tank. And he's decided to just sell everyone right now, and hopefully he's good next year. So, uh, anyone else have any comments they want to make about trade deadline before we move on?
I will say I did try to trade with Greg a couple times during the trade deadline. I tried trading him some pretty good. I tried trading him for a certain players, and he was
Of
not a
course.
shock there. He hasn't made one trade this year, I don't think.
Well, he made a trade with me once, and that was it. But he doesn't like move any draft picks or anything. He just like stays put. which, I mean,
Yeah.
different strokes for different folks, but I don't get that. That's not personally something I would do. So,
No. Greg's one of those people who are like, if you try to get a player from him, he thinks they're really good, and he won't give them up.
yeah, exactly. That's the worst, man. You're like trying to trade with someone for a player, and then you're like giving up a little bit, and then they go, "Oh, he's giving up this much. This guy must be pretty good." And they just don't give him up. So he stays put the whole year, and it's really unfortunate for everyone else in the league. So then let's go ahead and move into the waiver wire ads. First one, we did highlight this before, or actually we talked about this guy before, but Bryce went out and got him. Samaje Perine, you added and you dropped Juju Smith-Schuster. I like the move there, Bryce. It's a good short-term pickup.
Thank you.
Yeah, solid. And then Dalton, you added the Dolphins defense and dropped the Patriots defense. So what was the idea there?
Well, since I got rid of Damian Pierce, it kind of opened me up to more teams that I can choose.
Yeah, that is true. I would say so. Yeah, and you're able to get the Dolphins defense
Team.
that taken on the Texans, so that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Nick added Dawson Knox. He dropped a couple players before. I already ranted about this last show. I hate when people drop players in advance and then they add just people on the trade deadline, or not the trade deadline, on the waiver wire. So he dropped Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Cooper dropped Ryan Robinson, Christian Watson, which is a surprise, and uh, Jerry Jeudy. So then Nick added Dawson Knox, like I just said. Cameron added Latavius Murray and dropped Deontay Johnson, which is actually a pretty good idea, considering Latavius Murray is kind of the lone back there now since they just cut Melvin Gordon and Chase Edmonds is injured. Dyson added Pat Fryermuth and dropped Cole Kmet. I don't know if I would have done that. Cole Kmet's been pretty hot late, but Pat Fryermuth hasn't looked terrible either. And then I added George Pickens, NFL young boy. He's been a stud lately. And then I dropped Garrett Wilson after his bad game. We'll have to see how that plays out for me. I mean, Garrett Wilson has been okay over the last couple of games, and he's had some standout options there, but I like to keep it fresh, kind of rotate in some new guys, and George Pickens might be the guy who's really going to blow up at the end of the year. So then Bryce, he added the Chiefs defense and dropped the Titans defense. Do you feel more favorable about their matchup against the Rams?
Yeah, the Rams, they have been okay this year. I wouldn't say they're complete ass, but they're also not like the best team in the league. They're kind of floating somewhere in the middle. And I know that the Rams have really good defensive line, but I feel like Patty Mahomes is just on like a roll right now. You know, they just got really good chemistry going, and I just feel that that offensive chemistry will carry into the defensive chemistry because you gotta get hyped up, and once you get hyped up, it's just a train that keeps rolling.
Yeah, I would say so. Uh, Nick added Jimmy Garoppolo. Cameron then added Demarcus Robinson. Pretty solid moves there. And then Greg added Hayden Hurst, dropped Kyle Pitts, and then Cameron added Traylon Burks. Dyson added Paris Campbell and Cam Akers. So just some minor moves all around. Pretty low key trade deadline for Thanksgiving. So I don't really have any other comments on that. I don't know if you guys want to talk about any of the moves you made.
Nah, I don't really got anything.
Not really. There didn't seem to be too many outstanding waiver wires this
Yeah,
week.
I think we were all pretty settled with the trade deadline stuff. So that was what was really crazy this week. So let's move right ahead then into the week 12 matchup predictions. Oh, quick side note. I know we talked about doing keepers and talking about that this show, but the trade deadline stuff kind of came up and it was bigger than we expected it to be. So we're going to slide that back another week. Hopefully talk about it next week unless something else comes up, but we're really going to try to work that in the show, I promise. So the Week 12 matchup predictions. And guys, we suck at fucking predicting. No one has a winning record when it comes to predicting. I am 11-13. Dalton, you are 6-9. Nice. Dyson is 0-3. Cameron is 7-11. Bryce, you're 9-12, and Nick is 10-14. So I said we were going to turn the ship around, and I lied. It looks like so. This week, we're turning the ship around. We're
How
gonna get these
dare
right.
you lie to the viewers?
Yeah, I know. I'm a fucking liar. I almost sound like Double Golf Cup.
Yeah, that's it. Get off the air. You're done. You're cut.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's roll ahead then with the matchups. First one we can talk about is Double Gulp Cup taking on Nick's Chubb. And Tyson, like I said before, is on a 4-game losing streak. I would probably tout this just as the game of the week because this is such a pivotal matchup for Dyson. Because if he loses here, I would almost kind of count him out of the playoff race. And maybe not count him out, but it's definitely not going to be looking good.
Mhm.
And Nick has his reputation that he's trying to hold on to. But honestly, Cooper's not too far behind him. So, and he's all up in arms about winning and losing. So, looking at the matchups here, Josh Allen versus Detroit is pretty nice on Thanksgiving. Kenneth Walker's back versus the Raiders. Devonta Smith versus Green Bay could go well depending on who they have covering him. And then Dyson has a couple of nice matchups. Eckler versus Arizona, Joe Burrow versus Tennessee. But I'm going to go with Nick for this matchup. I think he'll win this one. What about you, Dalton?
I'm gonna go with Nick as well, just because with him now having Knox, I'm gonna be curious to see how much he connects with Josh Allen to get those double points for his fantasy team.
Yeah, that will be nice then. What do you have, Bryce?
I'm going to go with Nick as well. I feel that Dyson, he hit that, pretty fast downward slope. It's a snowball effect with his team, I think. Once you lose once, it just keeps piling up. And I know from experience earlier in the season. So,
Yeah, I'd say so. So then, the next matchup we could talk about is 50 Shades of Trey, Dalton taking on Big Ben Sexton. After Dalton's flash sale, it's hard for me to have a lot of confidence in his team, especially since Cooper is on a 3-game winning streak, who's quietly been very good at 7-4. I'm gonna go with Cooper. Don't really need much explanation. He's got some favorable matchups. Dalton also has some favorable matchups, but the flash sale that you did have, Dalton, makes it a little less likely for me to believe in your team. So, what do you think, Bryce?
I am also going to go with you there and go with Cooper because Cooper has been putting up steady points, I feel. And
Wow.
what
Well, you
Dalton,
just
I'm
sold away
sorry,
like all your
buddy.
good players. What do you want us to?
Let's
What
say
do you
the
want us to do?
flash sale is what kills you.
I
That's
know.
what gets you.
Just you watch. Even with these new people, my dad's a fireman. I'll put the fire out just like Jarrett did.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
He's gonna put the fire
You
out.
just watch.
We got a fireman junior over
Yep.
here.
Or I'm either gonna be putting water or gasoline. So we'll figure out which way it goes.
Put
Yeah,
water and
jeez.
gasoline. Yeah, we'll see. We might mistake the jugs. We'll have to see. Okay, so then we'll
They're
move
both
into Watson's massage parlor. Bryce taking on Jordan's nut. Looks like Bryce is coming into this game after winning a game. Greg has been kind of somber lately. I want to know what you think, Dalton. So who do you have winning this one?
I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of hard because the matchups on both teams are kind of just eh.
Yeah.
I mean, Davis against. Oh, fuck. I closed my phone.
Hmm.
Davis against Detroit. There's a good chance he's going to get some good points up. You know, Bryce had some decent trades, so I think he's going to win this week against Greg.
Okay. All right. Looking at it, I really do want to pick Bryce here, but I feel like he
No,
has
you're
some
not.
tough matchups. Yes, and I'd also like to keep the competitive interest of the show. And Greg, I like Ramondre Stevenson versus Minnesota. I like Antonio Gibson against Atlanta. Looks like Antonio Gibson is kind of revitalizing himself. he should throw Joe Mixon in if he plays, but I don't think he's going to because he's not practicing. And Jamar Chase could be back. So if he does play, that would be nice for him. So to keep the competitive interest in the show, I'm gonna go with Greg, just so we have some variety here. But that will take us into our final matchup. Myself, Back to the Future, taking on Judge Judy. Cameron's been hot lately. No one can really deny it. He has the most points for, and he's fourth in the league right now. I am third in the league. I have some tough matchups for my running backs, Saquon Barkley and Travis Etienne, but I got a lot of people back from my bye week. So Christian Kirk is back. Chris Godwin, I'm kind of on the fence of playing over Chris Olave. T. Higgins had a good week last week, so I feel okay coming into this game. So, Dalton, who do you think's going to win?
You know, Jarrett, I'm gonna go with you this week again, just because I do like Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews against Jacksonville. And then I do like the Justin Jefferson against New England as well. So I'm thinking you're gonna pull this off this week.
Sick. All right. Who do you think, Bryce?
I'm gonna go with Cameron.
All right. That's fair. Honestly, I don't blame you. Cameron's had the hot hand lately, and he's been going.
He's been putting up like 180 points a week, and you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame you. He might be a dark horse pick to win the whole thing, honestly. As much as it pains me to say, he might be a dark horse pick to win everything. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that going into the end of the year. But that's our picks for week 12. Hopefully we can turn the ship around and get some of this right. Someone's got to get a winning record. It's looked brutal for us so far. So besides that, that pretty much wraps up the show. Go check out Primetime Rundown. We just posted that yesterday. Talked the week 12 games, bring up a little bit of Thanksgiving. Me and Dalton did it, so it was a blast. Keep your eyes out for Hardcount Headaches to come out eventually whenever we get that in the works. Sounds like a lot of fun. I believe the first episode, or at least the pilot episode, was Nick, Bryce, and Dyson. Just got a few things pending for that, so looking forward to that as well. And then also go enter the giveaway. Our TikTok is open right now, and it's open till December 1st. So just go to post, make sure you follow the page, like the post, and then comment your favorite team, and also comment the console you play on. We only have 3 entries right now, so your odds are pretty good. I would go in there. If you enter right now, you would have a 1 in 4 chance. So hard to believe that much.
Tell your friends, tell your family.
Yeah, get it out there. I mean,
go tell grandma and grandpa.
You
know, get them on the TikTok.
You can give it to your little cousin's Xbox account or something like that. So go ahead and do that. Check out the TikTok. Check out the Instagram. We've been working really hard on that. I did just do a trade deadline grade post that took quite a while, so I'd like that to get a decent amount of work, or a decent amount of views and interactions with it. So looking to grow the brand like always. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So what are our final words today?
I wear a large cow costume.
Well, the one on Amazon, Dalton, said it fits people from 5'3" up to 6'3", so I think we'll be golden.
I'm going to get you some cow lingerie.